So, cables. I have a few super nice ones with me today, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. But first, let's talk cables. And the big question is, should you spend more money and get yourself some premium or high-end power or instrument cables? Let me just say, it's a very controversial topic. And if we are talking about most musicians, well, let's be honest here, for a vast majority of us guitar players, cables are usually somewhere at the bottom of our priority list. And I personally haven't been diving much into that, rabbit hole. And if your name is not Eric Johnson, most of you are probably not bothered too much about it as well. What I personally always wanted from cable is basically decent build quality, so it doesn't let me down after a few gigs, and that was always pretty much it. On the other hand, if you engage in these cable topic conversations, with hi-fi people, audio enthusiasts, manufacturers, etc., you'll see that there's so much more about it. Again, it's always a question of quite a controversy, since a lot of people disagree about how big of an impact cables actually have to their sound. And since I'm not an electronic engineer or expert on that topic by any means, I'm just going to give you my judgment and opinion over this matter in a completely non-scientific way. So solely from a standpoint of an average guitar player. So recently I've received a few very, very nice cables for review from an Italian company called Frog, which is a company that also makes some amazing premium handmade amps, cabinets, custom cables, etc. And I have had quite a detailed correspondence with them about the importance of cables, so it intrigued me a little bit, I have to admit that, although I still don't have particular interest to dive too deep into that dark and very deep cable rabbit hole. Anyway, here they are. What I have here is two instrument guitar cables and two power cables. First thing you will notice is packaging in which they come, and it's very, very nice. Each of them has their own nice box, as you can see. Each of them is completely handmade, it's tested before shipping, has a lifetime warranty, and comes with some handwritten info and notes. Now, retail price of these four cables together is 475 euros. For example, this power cable alone costs 220 euros. So quality and premium stuff obviously comes with a price. But if you think this is expensive, check this out. I did some research and here's some power cables, and as you can see the price tags, it's pretty hefty. Let's see here, we have 1,900, then we have 4,500 for a single power cable, bear in mind, 3,500, 5,500. And if you think that's expensive, check this out. Here we have a power cable, 1.225 meters in length, 26,775 euros. If you need by any chance 2.5 meters, price goes up to 34,630 euros. And if you need 5-meter length cable, it goes up to 50,340 euros for a single power cable. I think that's insane. So, how does premium cable affect your sound? Beside the fact that shorter instrument cable is going to give you brighter sound, while a longer cable is going to give you darker sound, because capacitance is going to increase with the longer cables, resulting in darker sound. What else affects quality of your signal? Well, by some extent, everything. Material, connectors, insulation, shielding, soldering. Now, take this cable for example. So, insulation and shielding is transparent PVC PE conductive thermoplastic. Material is silver-plated copper braid with 100% coverage. Connectors being used here is G&H High Clarity series. Then, soldering for this cable is done by hand with thin silver alloy and hot glue sealing, which is applied after solder. It has an outer braided sleeve transparent soft PVC. It's 100% handmade in Italy, one at a time. It's also possible to add name and logo customization to these cables. And finally, it has a lifetime warranty which covers materials and manufacturing defects. Now, if you ask yourself why does this cable cost 120 euros, for example, just these two G&H connectors, high clarity series alone, will cost you around 15 bucks, let alone other material for cable, insulation, shielding, assembly, soldering, manpower required to put all that together. And since all these other components are also premium materials, it's really not that hard to justify the price of 120 euros. Now, does it affect the sound of your guitar? Well, short answer is yes. Now, how much does it affect your sound? That really depends how picky you are, and how big of a tone aficionado you are. And here's a quick test for you. Make sure you listen to these two samples either on a good studio headphones or studio monitors to really notice a difference. So one is a 13 euro budget guitar cable, and other is Studio Supreme cable from Frog. And both of them have a 3 meters in length. So hopefully you could hear there's quite a bit of a sonic differences between them. Frog cable definitely offers more details. It's a lot brighter and has much more clarity, especially at the top end. Of course, like in everything, beauty is in this case in the ear of the beholder. So one can maybe prefer sound of a cheaper cable. I don't know. But to me, Frog clearly wins here. Now, is it 12 times better to justify 12 times of a price difference? Certainly not. But then we come to one feature of these premium cables that can help justify the price differences. And that feature, for me personally, is much more important than this slight sound improvement they may offer. And that's its build quality and durability. I mean, these cables are really made like a tank. Build quality is absolutely superb, and these cables are not going to deteriorate signal after a while or give up on you, at some crucial points, which cable tends to do, by the way. They always tend to let us down at worst time possible. So this one is not going to break easily, and it's going to perform consistently for years and years to come. Now, as far as power cable goes, things get, at least for me, even more complicated there. Apparently, they also affect your sound and signal quality, and some hi-fi enthusiasts and professionals pays a fortune for, stuff like I showed you earlier in this video. Again, in my opinion, paying for a single power cable several thousand euros absolutely doesn't make sense, regardless of the result. It's just too much. But having a great quality cables like these, maybe for a couple of hundreds, may be well worth it investment if you can afford it, of course, and for several reasons. For me, first reason is, and it's something that I'm always scared of, and that's, some kind of, power accident and fire. I recently had an electrical engineer redoing my whole electrical lines in my apartment because I always have this fear and phobia of some power spike, accident, that something is going to go wrong, something is going to overheat, and that everything is going to, just disappear in a big fireball. So I've also invested in some very high quality power extender cords, not these ones. So having your equipment fitted by this cable is a good step preventing something like that, because they are definitely less likely to be a cause of some electrical issue or overheating or anything like that. Other reason to have some good quality cables is how they handle EMI or electromagnetic interferences and RFI or radio frequency interferences. So what's the typical effects of EMI RFI pollution? Well, lower dynamic, compressed scene, dull bass, poorly focused mid-range, dirty treble, malfunctions, and noise. So for that reason, high quality power cables have a task not only to better power the input voltage, but rather to prevent the cable itself behaving, like a real antenna. So from polluting with EMI, RFI, the devices and other nearby cables, especially the signal cables, and to lesser extent, but still not negligible, other power cables. So just ask some of the owners of a big rack systems who tends to experience these type of interferences. Of course, don't forget to get yourself also some high quality power extenders. Again, not something like this. This is accident waiting to happen. And finally, should you invest in some premium stuff like these Frog cables? If you can afford it, absolutely. And you don't need to go super crazy. Now, I'm thinking it's a really good idea to have a few of these power cables powering perhaps your amp and studio monitors, and 1 or 2 instrument cables for your home recording studio. I know that from now on, these 2 power cables are gonna go straight to my studio monitors, and instrument cable, one is gonna go straight from guitar to my audio interface whenever I record guitars with plugins, because only one is gonna be enough. And I'm gonna use the other one, whenever I'm using some external guitar effects processor. So that's it. I'm gonna leave a link to Frog website in description of this video. You can also scan this QR code to access it. Check them out if you are in need of some really superb quality instrument and power cables with still reasonably affordable price tag. See you soon. Cheers.